And I just want some people to understand that some people say, I heard somebody yell in the distance that this one here is like Phil. Phil isn't as big as that. That's more around my size, actually. But they tried to make me look like I am not one of these people, and I am. Like, they try to make me, or maybe others, feel like I'm not that. Well, you know, I'll say I'm just about that size, all right? And I have the similar arms and whatnot. He's a lot older, so I'm sure I'll catch up or whatever. But listen, I have just as much rights as anybody else. And I know the money tat thing was a big thing in the streets for people. And that's what it was supposed to be. And that's what pushed me to my level of success. It was a great thing that I did. It's now covered up. It looks amazing. I could get this girl right here. She'd be just... And then there was a thing where I had become even more successful than what they would consider to be a perfect man. So they had to make sure that they came and stole from me so that I didn't appear to be wealthier. But it turns out that I am quite a king. And there just is nothing they can do to try to make me look a certain way, because I was born a king and made myself a king. And when I say Phil Thompson, he is also a king. And he's just, you know, maybe but I can't even see that king. And you know, I'm so glad I got to know him, because he is, that king is related to me. Now, I am not a king yet. I am a prince, if you want to be super technical. But once I become a king, I will be very much like a king like that, or a king like Phil Thompson. Now, some of them want to do some things to try to stop me to become king, because I haven't met my queen yet. But I will meet a queen. All right. And what else can I say about that? I've done a lot as a knight. All right. And my armor, I don't have any male armor or whatever, literally, but I have a nice king outfit coming. Or actually, it wouldn't be really a king outfit. It would be more of like something like this. Some work attire. But my intentions are to fill that spot of king in my area when the time is right, because I was born to be a king, obviously. And I always knew I was supposed to be a king, because they had told me that I was supposed to be a king. And they had certain things that I was supposed to follow when I was a kid. And some of them were, they knew I was following, but I was going a certain way. But now they're happy to hear that I once again am on my way to kinghood. And I am sort of like this guy here now, but I want to be an extremely more wealthier king. Actually, I'm quite like this man here. I'm just, my coins are stacking up. I'm not into the bags or nothing, but I might have a stack of coins here. I don't have any coins necessarily, but I have a lot of these. But next month, the coins are coming in. And I have, well, actually, I think about a bag is coming in next month. And I have lots of these. And I do have a chair. It's not as high backed as this one. as I want to in the future have. And I have a couple of these sires and things, and I have a lot of these. And my voice travels a great distance, and my voice means a lot to a lot of people. And I am wearing sandals, and like I said, I got a new outfit coming so the outfit's coming. I do not have the crown yet, but as you may know, that crown has become part of my personal image, even when I'm not wearing it. So they expect me or won't be shocked when I'm actually wearing the crown. And my treasure box is, I'm getting more and more treasure on a daily basis. But I need to hire more of these knights to protect our treasure, or the treasure that I'm going to. And those are very costly. But I can't afford sort of them or whatever, but they are very costly and they can't be on duty at all times. All right, so, but it's a lot slower than many people say. Here's an evil king. They say I might be an evil king, but I'm not. But there are times to be evil, especially when other kings are being evil, or even when peasants begin to be evil. Like, here's a very weak king. You could even consider me very weak, and there's a lot of weak kings around. And I have my here, and like I said, I have actually I'm a bit more wealthier than this king here. This king has a ring, but what's that ring going to do? And he has he has nothing to then hire a knight, which I do. I have the capability of hiring knights, and that one doesn't. All right. And as long as my knights listen and sliceth the head off of the certain ones that have disrespected our kingdom, there will be treasure for everyone. All right. Now, you're going to say, Thomas, you know, there's all types of different treasure. And I understand that. All right. Certain people want certain things. Food means a lot to some people, and some people don't want food. They want electronics. Some people want clothes. Some people just want to be me altogether, and I just can't do that one. But kids love these. And I remember when I was a kid at the dentist and everything like that, they used to give you these treasure chests. And that's for the kids. Kids love toys. Some people like gold. Okay. And some people don't know the value of these things, but I do. But then you can over-evaluate things and make it too hard for somebody and all that. But then again, they're going to say, you know, they're going to say, but there's lots of different people. Like I said, there's all different kings. And one of our things was to make you, every man or whatever, natural born or whatever, that's doing the right thing or whatever, legally or whatever, every man should feel like he's a king. Right? You have this man here. He doesn't look like the most superiorly wealthy man comparative to some other ones. But in his own regard, he's a king. Look at how much gold he's collected. This gold, all right, and this is what happens, and they're trying to do it to my family, and he might be considered one of them. you have to be really, 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 really careful, even with one gold coin. All right. This man is the bearer of several gold coins, but there is some peasants that might kill you just for one of these one coins. Then he's saying, well, to hell with it, and he throws his coins. Well, that can screw up the economy too, because then the people think the right thing to do is to rob the kings for their coins, and then they end up getting their they used to do it like medieval beheadings and things. I don't want to show it, but there's ways that they punish those that think it's good to do bad things, just because they were accidentally rewarded one or a couple times. And that can cause an issue, but it always ends up where those people that have accidentally been rewarded and they think it's a good thing to do bad things. That is why we have that criminal justice system, but that goes all the way back to medieval times. And I spelt it wrong, but it's all right. Here we go, medieval times. I might have spelt it wrong again. Because I'm trying to think of what to say, but it goes all the way back to medieval times, the criminal justice system, and the punishment for one's actions that goes against the law because of that fact that I just mentioned, because it screws it up, right? They go and then they think it's a cool thing to do bad things, and they got a few chuckles or whatever, but then now they're going around killing one's horses or whatever and all that. So it's like a non-stop. Or say they thought this person originally started as a gold small-time thief, now they're stealing horses and whatnot. So that's what it is all at or whatever. But I'm in the position where I'm notifying the other kings on which group is doing this. All right? And then the kings are sending out their knights, and we are doing quite well. We just took out one of their pawns, Rowan Atkins, known, and when I say Rowan Atkins, you're going to say Mr. Bean? No, Mr. Avengers K. Avengers K. Rolex Homie, he was one of the Black King's pawns. He hasn't been killed, they haven't beheaded him, but they've got him locked away in the dungeons. And several other of them, too. Because they were stealing gold from the kings and whatnot, through illegal means and whatnot. Yeah, he produced a good song, but he obtained the gold and the diamonds through illegal means, so he kept doing those illegal means, and he's since being put into the dungeons. Because they're not following the classic medieval rules upon these people. He has the potential to escape this medieval dungeon, which they call jail now, because the jails aren't ran by the proper people or whatever. There's a lot of corruption and whatnot, and he could potentially escape the dungeon, and his king still remains. So the knight's been sent to the dungeon, but there's a few, and Drake is that king, and a few others, but I believe Drake is that king, all right, where that man is the pawn or whatever, and But who is his complete rival? That is the Queen Elizabeth. All right. Queen Elizabeth is Drake's rival. All right. If you think down to it, she is the true Queen of Canada, and this man here is supposed to be the true King of Canada as a whole. Right? Like I said, there's several smaller kings, but on the vast level, this is the true queen as of right now, and so on. And that here is Prince, right? Harry. But I see how they did it. It's a monarch or whatever, and he is could reign supreme as the king of the United Kingdom. But what has pressured him to step down from his royal duties? Well, maybe he's just taking a break and he's getting ready for his kingship or whatever. But here's the thing. Before you become king, one of your Canadian princes, Staximilly, he's letting you know from his perspective what is in the way of your kingdom, as well as your as Queen Elizabeth's. And that is these ones that I have mentioned, that being Drake or whatever, and we're huge supporters of him, but he's a king of his own kingdom, a kingdom that necessarily would kill Harry and not allow Harry to become the king. If Drake reigns supreme, in these ones in Canada, under Drake and around Drake and whatever, then Prince Harry would lose his kingship and he would never become a king, quite possibly like he should have. And that is the situation that's going on right now. She is the Queen of Canada. And I testify that, and that's the thing, she's only a woman. I am the only one that stood up to say, and like we've lost, so that's why they're calling me the King of Canada, all as a whole. Because she doesn't want to say it because she's only a woman, a fragile woman, the Queen. So I am the king, and I am the one standing up, and I am saying on the Queen, well, no, I'm not going to say that, but I'm the one in front of the king, in front of the Queen, and I'm saying what the Queen really probably wants to say, but she has the inability to do it. I want to see Prince Harry rise to power, but it's so different now, they're saying. All right, they're saying it's so different now. But nothing's changed. We're still in the same world. And because you think it's so changed, it's hurting the kingdom and it's hurting the monarch. I'm tired of the vicious street murders. I'm tired of the dirty drugs. I'm tired of the ghettos, the areas that they've designed to hold these such people, and I'm tired of the corruption from our older ones that are just about gone. And they're holding on with a thread, and they're really pulling and all that, but they will soon be gone, and they will be proceeded upon or whatever. Slowly but surely. I do not want to rush the Queen. Like I said, I stand up for the Queen. And all that. And this is the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like a Mugu. It's hard to explain. It's just not supposed to be the certain way that they're trying to make it. There's not supposed to be this African crime. Like, we're not supposed to have violence, and we're not supposed to have these things. We want people to live a happy and fair life or whatever. And I could go on about it all the time, but I understand. But there's lots of space on this planet Earth, and I don't want it on the planet Earth. But if this is what you want to do, then go. I just don't think it should be in Canada. That was always known as the third world. All right. I understand that perspective too. Some people just want to have fun and live it like that. When I grew up, it was always the thought that Canada and the United States was so secure and developed that we were like a safe area comparative to some other areas. And one way I can kind of describe that is like with the World of Warcraft map, you have contested land, you have safe areas, but then you can get invaded and all that too, though. Like you have this continent here. Oh, Undercity's right on the same continent as Stormwind and all that. But Undercity is an underground city because the ones from Kalimdor have gotten over there and gotten underground to invade Stormwind. All right, and so Canada is like a Stormwind city. Same with the United Kingdom and the United States. But some people are saying that the United States is more like an Orgrimmar, which we thought, well, originally the United States was more like a Booty Bay. Like in Florida, it was more like a Booty Bay. You go down there, it's nice and hot. You got a lot of booty down there, right? People are wearing bikinis and all of that. And then it's just gotten so bad somewhat, kind of like this, that the ones from like Orgrimmar and whatever, well, they had slaves from Orgrimmar that they brought down to Booty Bay, and then they released those slaves, and now Booty Bay is controlled by those ones from Orgrimmar, and they're coming up to get Stormwind City. And we just brought a whole bunch of ones over from etc., etc., and they're in store, like they're over in, like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. And I always liked Stormwind City. You know, like I never played it all the time, but it was a city. Like you go there, and there's all types of merchants, and there's a lot to learn. Like maybe I just played too many video games. I never realized that real life can get like that also. And then we have guys like this who we paid to be our soldiers for Stormwind City, and they proclaim to be a soldier for Stormwind City, and they're supposed to be, but this is more like me, and I keep hearing from my fellow soldiers who have, okay, I'm more like this guy. I'm supposed to be in this armor. I act just like this guy in the armor. I'm doing all the work of the guy in the armor. But the guy that's actually got the armor really isn't doing much because he is like playing video games in his peasant home or whatever, and he hasn't went for his castle yet, and there's plenty of castles ready for everybody like me and my friend to move into, because he's too busy playing World of Warcraft on his computer, but he's supposed to be a licensed officer taking care of these ones that have invaded Booty Bay. It's kind of like when Stormwind gets invaded, Stormwind City gets invaded by the Horde or whatever. And it happens. They come in, they invade, and then they retreat back to Orgrimmar and whatnot. And that's what happened with COVID-19 and whatever, with the people. That's why they cut off all the traveling. Okay, they've gotten away with it so much. They invade us, and then they just fly back to Africa. They invade us and fly back to here. Invade us and then fly back to there. And some of our guys ain't coming out and healing. Some of our guys aren't doing DPS and all that, because they were unaware of what's been going on. But that's what's been going on. And then there's some orcs that have joined our side. So I understand that. But then these orcs sometimes go through it and they feel bad for some of the orcs that they left behind. But then it's Shadowlands and everything gets destroyed or whatever, and it's like, Jesus, just put an end to it. All right? All right? Like, geez, but everything is not destroyed. Stormwind City still stands. It's just changed. And every once in a while a monster pops up, and stuff can happen, and we all have to jump on that monster and get rid of them. Now, I'm not the monster, okay? I can promise you that. I'm not the monster. And I'm not a zombie either. These undead zombies, they're still around, but they're in a certain area. But they're in a certain area of Stormwind City that is such a nice area that they're inflicting people with the plague, their viruses and whatnot. I'm so lucky I was sort of highly susceptible, but even if you're highly susceptible to these diseases, you can still get them. All right? You can still get them. That's why then they're going to say, oh, you're being, but no, sometimes we need to bring back that medieval times sort of thing, and we need to bring it to Canada. It used to be big in the United Kingdom. They used to have public hangings. I'll do medieval because I don't want to show modern ones, because medieval ones are more okay. There was all different types of medieval punishments. And they used to do that here in a place called Kingston Penitentiary, I believe. They used to do a lot of medieval punishments there, and they rid it of it. But they need to do more medieval punishments in a proper fashion, and even medieval. They do it, but they're doing it in a different way. And I have received torture and punishment, but nothing to a level that some of these ones need to. All right. I'm so lucky that I've sort of followed it enough to where I have never, obviously not. But there's nothing wrong with it. Look at this one here. Bad wives, bad men, medieval punishment, an antique vintage postcard. I haven't looked at medieval punishment things in a pretty long time. But it was something that I took a look at when I was a kid, and I never really understood it, but I'm starting to understand it now. But even somebody like that, even though this is sort of a joke picture, could receive medieval punishment. All right, but they say it's not around anymore, but it is. Like I have the rodent punishment inside my body. I don't know if they put it in me or whatever, but this is one that they're using still for a lot of citizens. All right, and that is me included. I have a rodent inside of my body. He's highly trained, and he's fairly smart, but sometimes he goes a little bit beyond. But he is generally a pretty nice rodent. All right, and a lot of people have that. All right. It's usually when you act erratic or something, they torture you with the rodent, all right? It's inside your body. It's nearly impossible, if not impossible, to get out. And they do it to control sexual deviance sometimes, they say. All right, but the rodents are a bit off, all right? The rodents are a bit off. Because I've been punished, but I understand also, no, they're fairly good. They even lick if you're doing good. All right, they're very, very smart, but there's been a couple times that I don't necessarily believe that they should have been poking at my heart, but they were, as a torture or whatever, and it's pushed me to this point. Here's another video that's going to be generating me revenue or whatever, so. And I've done this one before. The classic write the sentence or whatever over and over. Who used to make me do that? Had to be in Linden, Tennessee. They made me do that, I think. And I also was paddled in Linden, Tennessee by a woman. So it wasn't so bad. Paddling punishment. Hopefully no sexual ones pop up. But yeah, a woman similar to that had punished me with a paddle. All right, they hit me much harder than they would have hit that little girl. And but it was the best thing for me. It didn't. I caught a tear in my eye. All right, because my father already beat me pretty good, or slapped my behind pretty good. He didn't beat me, he slapped my behind. Okay? And it was a good thing in my life. And they had this one too, the aerodynamic one with the holes in it. And I wouldn't want to get beat every day. So they're saying like they got rid of these residential schoolings, but residential schooling, it was like it's a good thing. As long as there's no, it could be brought back, but much more, we have the modern system to where we can watch and make sure they're not getting overly beaten or anything. All right, because that could have happened too, where they overly beat, but it's a whole nother people now. It's not just the natives. It's more than just the natives. It's the natives, okay? The black people are generally good at that one too. I know of one of my, I mean, I've never met him, so I call him a fan, but one of the person that watches my, or looks at my Instagram, he looks like a fairly decent, like he's came from a decent upbringing. Same with Obama, supposedly, but I don't think Obama did, supposedly. But who knows? We haven't seen Sasha and the other one in the news, and I think they just allowed that because they wanted to let them have some shine anyway, right? You know, they're celebrities. Obama's like, all right, you know, you can, and then enough was enough, and you haven't seen much of them doing that lately. But it's something that some people haven't had, and it's sort of up north anyway, and here in Canada. We have Justin, who always gets on and just cries for the natives, cries for the natives, cries for the natives. Every single year, it's the same thing. We're so sorry about the residential schooling. We're so sorry. And I understand because there were mounds. But I've seen mounds before because they have mounds down in Tennessee and they don't have pictures of them. It's a very touchy subject. All right. Now, residential schooling, I don't necessarily completely agree with it, but I think it wasn't a totally bad thing like some people think either. It was sort of good. And there was a lot of people that made it very far and learned a lot of things. Basically, the point of the residential schooling is it's a horrible world out there. It could be and can be. Okay? It could be and can be, but this man here is your savior, and he's educating you in a nice building to survive a proper and decent life through means of education and things like that. Now, I believe the mounds had to be of ones that must have, okay, there were some innocent ones, but some of them acted and behaved wrong. Now, the children ones, okay, I don't know. I think, you know, it gets pretty bad. They probably were ridding the children as soon as they seen certain tendencies out of them. Because once that certain one with that certain tendency gets so big, they're impossible to then deal with, and that is the coldness of our world that we live in. And then this man's family's life is now in jeopardy because he taught them too much, and that can happen. All right, but there were ones that made it, and they have their place, and they should come back and do it kind of like the United States, where they really make sure that nobody's overly beaten or whatever. But I have nothing bad to say about it other than the fact that it would just have to be a slight different or whatever nowadays. Now that everybody's got lots of cameras and things. But when I went to school, this is a big difference from Canada to the United States. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it was just where I went. But when I went to school, they would not allow you to have your phone on you. All right? You had to check in your phone at school if you had one. All right? You had to put it, people would hide it. And it's changed now. A lot of the schools let you have a laptop and all that. But when I went to school, people would either hide it like this. Oh, but then it got bad where they would take their phone and think they own the property. So it's changed a lot. And same with those school shootings and all that. People want to make sure their kids are safe and able to contact their parents and all that. But when I was a kid, they wouldn't allow those phones to be really as long. Like my rule would be, if I was a teacher or whatever, or an administrator, would be to you can have your phone with you as long as it's completely off or silent. And if I see you taking it out and playing with it and it's not for research or something, or to go along with the lesson, then I wouldn't probably allow the phone to be out or whatever. But yeah, we had to do this. Put our phone in a bin. And I didn't have a phone at that time. Or I did, but I just did at the very end of it. And it wasn't one of these new smartphones. Now I got the new iPhone, the new A70 and all that. And blah, 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 blah. All right. But my A70 needs fixed. So right now I'm just on the iPhone or whatever, the same one that is right here. So, you know, and then if you're on the standpoint to where you'll let individual teachers, that works sometimes too, because each class is different. You might have a class that requires somebody to do some additional research and all that. That's no harm, because that only educates the child further. All right, but there is certain classes where you don't need the phone out at all, and you just need to listen to the child or whatever. And not every child needs to be paddled. You know, it's usually ones that are acting up. So with the residential schooling, some of them acted up and whatever, but most are still around. And they came to terms with those native people a long time ago and gave them, assigned them land or whatever, vice versa. And those native reserves are doing well. And I happen to have I'm part native. I wouldn't even consider it well, yeah, I guess obviously I'm part native. If you can see it in my face sometimes or whatever, then I am part native, okay? We mixed, I guess I mixed, they would consider me to be Métis. Anyways, I have to take this call, but most are doing well, and that's the duty of their chief. To why some of them aren't doing so well. Some of them aren't, but I hear there's some things that go on with the chief, and that can be discussed too. And I've been on a couple reserves, and my family used to own property on the reserve, or whatever, however they do it, and or quite possibly still do. And or they I think they own the house on the reserve, and then they pay a land rent or tax to the reserve and all that. But it's going quite well, and I've been to a couple powwows in my life and all that. And natives are a part of our culture, native people, and like I said, I'm part native. You know, I'm not full-blooded, but I care about the native people, and maybe it is a time for residential schooling to slow down the way it was or whatever it did, but we do need kids go to school. It was something that I did, but I think they got that all covered. But with the punishments, it was a good thing in my case. I'm not that old, only 27. It happened when I was, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago. I had gotten paddled. And that's one thing, and we try to make it a thing where it's the father that does those things, right? But sometimes some folks don't have any fathers, all right? And that's, I think, where a lot of those residential schoolings came into place, because a lot of those fathers were killed in that war or whatever when they came and took over the land. Right? So it was a lot of children with no fathers. And that's just what it is. All right? It's a father thing. All right? And that must be how I'm Métis, because my father must have eliminated that male native and then had a sexual relationship with a native woman, and then produced me along the line and yada yada, and that's how I'm part native. All right, and that's what it is. All right, and but A lot of the native females are doing very well in Canada. My brother, his common law wife is native. My nieces are both native. All right. So I am definitely have a lot of native in my family. But at the same time, like my native, I don't know, a sister-in-law, I guess you would call her. She sometimes gets angry about it, but we love her, and there was not, I didn't do anything, and that's just how the world is. But my brother needs to know that too. All right, that it can get like that. So he's got to watch his wife as any man does. And that's all I want my brother to know. And he's starting to drink like a damn native. Here he is here, though, in 2010, on the Native Reserve. Okay, he went and met the chief. All right, and they let him take photos with their Rolls Royces. They wanted him to know, like they just kind of like let him know, like, yeah, we're here, and you can become big too. And it was a huge motivation for my brother. And he's done all right, but I wish he would really man up and become that true man that he's supposed to be. And it isn't by being less than another man. I don't know why he's out there. He'll never become the king he was supposed to be in the area that he's living in. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Maybe he will. Maybe he will get that Rolls Royce in Toronto. Or maybe he was just never capable of doing it. All right? And who knows, maybe I won't either. That is the game of life. Not everyone needs the Rolls Royces and the clean things and all that. You have to get rid of this substance here, alcohol, and you got to stop buying so much of this vitamin water because it's putting money into the hands of these ones, and they're laughing at you. And Gotti and his friends always thought it was real cool to do those things. All right? But if you look at almost every photo of Gotti, people are laughing at him in them. Like here, Jesse James, he's laughing. Gunplay laughing. All right? Then you see this one. There's stuff missing from Gotti's store. Then Gotti kind of wipes it off and charges it to the game or whatever. But I really want to see Gotti come and get to a more appropriate place with his family. That's what a family is supposed to do. Now it's going to piss off these people bad because they think they have control of Gotti. Right? They might not be in physical control, but they have control of his wealth. He was supposed to be far wealthier than he is. He's a Frenchman. Part native, just like me. We're blood brothers. And he did his native thing and he did his black thing. And I really hope my brother can escape Egypt, which is not Egypt, it's Toronto, but let's just say Brampton and Mississauga is kind of like an Egypt in that way. And one day, but it's all the way around. So now it's like this multicultural kingdom. Or it's supposed to be. But there's certain nights, man. Okay, there's certain nights at nighttime or certain days where it's not this equal kingdom anymore. It becomes to where it's like a flex of power, usually during very sexual moments. And there might be one that comes up again in 10 years or so. And that would be your dangerous time to be you, John Gotti, over in Mississauga, is during those sexual moments. And the only reason why it hasn't gotten that bad, because I retrieved to safety, and I've been getting the sexualness out of these ones, but they're starting to catch on. Okay, that I was giving them that sexual gratification to keep my brother safe as well as my own life safe, and they're coming back in blood. All right, and that was a big thing. But Gotti's got a lot of tattoo work to do, so that's the area he's in now. It's a big tattoo place. All right, you can grab some tatties there, and I don't know his store. I don't think his store is doing too well. Like I said, he just got caught up on more charges, they're saying, but who knows what they're doing with it. And it won't work out like the last time where they tried to come after me for something Gotti's done. I'm a completely different person, completely legal and all that, and that's what they did the last time. And it won't happen this time. And so Gotti's a corrupt guy himself. He's not very. I don't think he goes to church. He'll have to show that himself. But I know he used to go to church, and I'm really hoping he can become that Gotti again. But he's got his own family now, and we have a picture together with our last Christmas together. And the characters in that, actually we've seen each other quite recently, and we had butter chicken. But there is a picture where where is it? Oh, here. This was the last Christmas that me and John Gotti had together. And what's it called? I don't mind these two characters here. This is Boat and this is Showtime. And they're what we consider to be family, but the all of us have been corrupted by some of these just these bad ways of life, I feel like. Showtime, Boat, Boat's kept clean. His mom's a probation officer. And, or was. And, if we all work together, we can, make it happen. But there's a lot of thievery that's been going on with certain individuals, but I understand people's perspective, and a lot of people are being more humble now. They're sort of understanding the perspective of who's the one that really has this money that they want to go out and get, and all that. And but I try to stay away from these from Gotti, because he's still hanging out with those ones, and it's a dangerous area. Gotti never seen how dangerous it can get out there yet. Oh, but it can get real dangerous out there. Maybe he has. Who knows? Or maybe he's at the other end of the stick. I don't know. I don't talk to him too often and all that. But I am a lot younger than Gotti. Gotti is 8 years older than me. And actually, I'm supposed to be quite well off. But Gotti got really mad when he got out of prison. And I did so much. I did all I could do for Gotti. I gave him a phone when he got out of prison for free. I didn't ask him for nothing. And I used to sell clothes for him. And I did all these free videos for him that got him started to convince some people and I gave him his name, and I also catalog his music and things. But now he's doing well, thank God. because he would rob me quite a lot when he got out of prison. So I'm glad he's back doing well so he doesn't have to rob me. And the reason why I am trying to tell him this stuff is like, dude, I'm doing well. I might buy another vehicle and all that. And I really want you to be wealthy enough where you don't feel like you have to come kill me and steal my stuff. Because I almost feel bad for you in that aspect. Like, just because your little brother has this and that doesn't mean you have to come rob him or kill him or whatever. So I'm trying to teach Gotti the ways of becoming successful. And that is what I'm telling him. You're being pawned by people out in the region you're in. And they've been stealing from you from years and years and years. And that's why you're not as wealthy as you desire to be. He wants to have a Rolls Royce. I know he does. All right? Or else these people wouldn't threaten me. You know, he wants to be driving a Rolls Royce. Okay? But, all right, he's going to say, but these are my guys. But, man, we've seen enough Patchy Pacino. It's gotten highly gay, and when it gets to that point, if you do not retreat to safety, you're going to get robbed or killed or whatever because they know you're going for that Rolls Royce. So we can consider Patchy a member of the label, but we did it like that before, and you need to be more secure because there's a lot of then it becomes on the vast level, man. Toronto has a lot of strong black ones and things that they don't give a damn, buddy. They want the Rolls Royce. They don't really respect your authority. In your mind, no matter how much you think you are that boss or whatever, but nobody is like that. It's a lot harder than you think than just saying you're the boss and working like you're the boss. It comes down to like bloodshed and stuff to be the real boss. It doesn't come down to how hard you worked. Look at Drake. His stuff's dismantling. He's worked very hard, and he thinks and he never called himself the boss. It has nothing to do with that. It's got to do with you getting to an area that's more safe for your specific race, and then you have to cut them off and starve them or whatever. And you have to be with a guy like me, and you have to get a legal gun, not an illegal gun. Get a legal one. Go for an air gun, man. And don't do illegal things with the air gun. Only stay in your house and collect your money and properly put it into the bank and whatnot or whatever and secure not and et cetera, and don't go out and do those things and just collect your royalties and make more music and make more entertainment and stop giving all the money to this guy. That was $10,000. 10,000. He's going to say, oh, it's a game, bro. I'm making so much. No, 10,000. And this guy's saying, shut the fuck up. That's our money. No, dude, that is a down payment. You could get, look at Rick Ross's mansion. That's all Rick Ross did. All right? It's a mortgage. $10,000 down. $15,000, $20,000 down. $25,000 down, and you're in it, bud. All right? And that's yours. And then you continuously pay your mortgage. These guys don't want to see it happen. I'm working with Rick, but I know he doesn't really want to see it happen. He wants it to be Planet of the Apes, and I wouldn't blame him because I understand. I would, if I was black, I'd want the same thing. But here you got a white man kissing a monkey, and sometimes you know why it happens like that? Because they make them do that. All right.